There are SpongeBob scenes that most people have never seen, not because they never existed. They were written, storyboarded, animated, and in some cases, actually broadcast on television, and then they were quietly removed. Cut from DVDs, pulled from streaming, edited out of reruns, gone. 5 of them, all real, all verified, and all more interesting than you'd expect. Before we start, a quick distinction. There are 2 types of scenes on this list. The first type are scenes that were cut before the episode ever aired, deleted during production, left on the storyboard, never broadcast. The second type are scenes that did air, sometimes for years, and were then pulled afterward. That second category is the more unsettling one, because it means millions of people watched those scenes as children, remembered them, and then one day went looking for them and found nothing. No clip, no acknowledgement, just an edit where something used to be. Both types are on this list. Let's go through them. Scene number 1, the Just One Bite gas scene, was cut after September 11th. This is the most famous deleted scene in SpongeBob history, and it is genuinely strange that most people still don't know the full story behind it. Just One Bite is a Season 3 episode where Squidward secretly tries a Krabby Patty and becomes obsessed with them. It is one of the most beloved episodes in the series, but in the original broadcast on October 5th, 2001, and only in that original broadcast, there was an extra scene that has never appeared on any DVD, any streaming platform, or any rerun since. The scene takes place when Squidward sneaks into the Krusty Krab at night to reach the Patty Vault. In the original version, Mr. Krabs had installed a security system, a bucket of gasoline that Squidward mistakes for water, which spills across the floor before a robotic hand drops a lit match, setting the entire entrance ablaze. Squidward gets burned twice before he can even reach the vault. The scene passed every single round of Nickelodeon approvals. It was in the episode when it aired. Then September 11th happened, less than a month after the episode first broadcast. Jay Lender, one of the writers, confirmed directly to SpongeBuddy Mania in January 2007 that while the scene had initially cleared every approval, the September 11th attacks were a major factor in the subsequent decision to remove it, along with a standards and practices issue. Vincent Waller confirmed on Twitter in 2018 that Nickelodeon was specifically against a gag involving a match in gasoline. Every home media release uses the edited version. Every streaming copy uses the edited version. The only way to see the original scene is through recordings of that first broadcast, some of which still exist online from international airings. A scene that was approved, broadcast, and then permanently erased because of something that happened in the real world 3 weeks later. Scene number 2, Midlife Crustacean, aired for 15 years before being completely banned. Most deleted scenes disappear quietly. This one disappeared after 15 years of being one of the most beloved episodes in the show. Midlife Crustacean is a Season 3 episode about Mr. Krabs feeling old and desperate to feel young again. He joins SpongeBob and Patrick on a night out, which turns out to consist of watching laundry machines, playing tabletop games, and going to the dentist. At the moment Krabs is about to give up, Patrick reveals the real plan, a panty raid. Krabs is suddenly delighted until they arrive at the Target house, and it turns out to belong to his own mother, who grounds him and sends him to his room. The episode is funny. It ran for 15 years without issue. It generated one of the most enduring SpongeBob memes ever. Are you feeling it now, Mr. Krabs? And then in 2018, Nickelodeon pulled it entirely. Nickelodeon spokesperson David Bitzler confirmed, Midlife Crustacean has been out of rotation since 2018, following a standards review in which we determined some story elements were not kid-appropriate. The episode was subsequently removed from Paramount Plus and Amazon Prime Video. In July 2023, it briefly reappeared on Paramount Plus due to a technical error and was pulled again almost immediately once the mistake was noticed. Power 100.9. The episode was eventually pulled from Nickelodeon's rotation in 2018 and from the Paramount Plus service in 2021, with the episode's prominent panty raid scene, as well as the wake of the hashtag #MeToo and Time's Up movements often being cited as the reason for its removal. film. An episode that ran for 15 years that millions of people remember is now one of the hardest SpongeBob episodes to officially watch, and Nickelodeon has never formally reversed that decision. Scene number 3, originally a scene in Procrastination that got cut for being too graphic. Procrastination is the season 2 episode where SpongeBob has to write an essay and spends the entire episode avoiding it. It is psychologically accurate in a way that is almost uncomfortable. The increasingly elaborate distractions, the guilt spiraling into panic, the moment where everything in his house briefly becomes a burning hellscape. That last part is the key one. In the original storyboard version of the episode, which was included on the season 2 DVD release, there are additional scenes that never made it into the final broadcast cut. Among the deleted material is an extended sequence of carnival imagery, a live-action race car clip, and a segment described as Casthaletics, all cut before the episode aired primarily for time, but more specifically, the sequence where SpongeBob's house catches fire during his guilt spiral was significantly longer and more intense in earlier versions. The storyboard DVD shows what the sequence originally looked like before it was trimmed down for standards compliance. The scene was always the most visually extreme moment in an episode that was already pushing boundaries for a children's cartoon, and the fact that the deleted material was preserved on the DVD, unlike most cuts, means it is one of the few cases where you can actually compare the original vision to what broadcast audiences saw. The full version of Procrastination is not the version most people grew up watching, and the storyboard DVD is the only place the original has ever officially existed. Scene number 4, Fry Cook Games, originally ended with SpongeBob and Patrick holding hands. This one was changed not for safety reasons or graphic content, but specifically to avoid controversy. Fry Cook Games is a season 2 episode where SpongeBob and Patrick compete against each other in an underwater Olympics parody. The episode builds their rivalry to a breaking point before they suddenly remember their best friends, and the original version of that ending moment showed them holding hands. The scene was reanimated for reruns after its original few airings. The final version, the one that has appeared on every DVD, streaming platform, and rerun since, shows them holding shoulders instead. The change was deliberate. The original few airings contained the hand-holding ending, and it was quietly swapped out in subsequent broadcasts without any formal announcement. The reanimated version became the standard, and most viewers who watched the episode in later years never had any idea the original ending existed at all. It is one of the smaller edits on this list. A few frames, a simple change of positioning, but the fact that it was changed specifically because of what the gesture implied says something significant about what Nickelodeon was and wasn't willing to leave on screen in the early 2000s. Scene number 5, Mrs. Puff's father was recorded, but his scene was cut and never explained. This is the strangest entry on the list because it is the one that was never properly resolved. In the end credits of the episode Krusty Love, Tom Kenny is listed as providing the voice of Mrs. Puff's father. This is notable for one specific reason. Mrs. Puff's father does not appear in Krusty Love. He does not appear anywhere in the episode. There is no scene, no line of dialogue, no visual reference to the character at all in the version that aired. According to C.H. Greenblatt, a storyboard artist on the episode, a scene featuring Mrs. Puff's father was planned but never made it into the final cut. The recording had already been completed. Tom Kenny had already voiced the character before the scene was removed. What makes this particularly unusual is the credit itself. It remained in the broadcast version of the episode even after the scene was cut, which means audiences watching Krusty Love saw Tom Kenny listed in the credits for a character he voiced in a scene that no longer existed in the episode they just watched. The full details of what the scene contained have never been confirmed. What Mrs. Puff's father looked like, what he said, and why specifically the scene was removed are all still unknown. No storyboard panel of it has ever surfaced. No description of the dialogue has been officially released. A character was designed, voiced, and credited, and then removed so completely that his scene has never been found. Here is what connects all 5 of these. Every one of them points to the same truth, that what you watched as a child was not the full version of the show that was made. Scenes were cut before broadcast, altered after, or removed years later by people making decisions about what was and wasn't appropriate for children to see. Most of those decisions were made quietly, without announcements, without explanations. The episode just changed or disappeared, and most viewers never noticed. SpongeBob has been on television for over 2 decades, and in that time, it has quietly quietly accumulated an entire shadow version of itself. Scenes that existed, aired, and then stopped existing, most of that shadow version is still out there if you know where to look. These 5 were just the beginning of it. And these are just the scenes that got removed, because there are moments that stayed in the show past every approval, aired without issue, that contain things the writers almost certainly knew most of the audience would never notice. Hidden in plain sight, still there, rewatchable right now. That list is coming next.